What's going on? Here with the boys. I'm Braden.
Oh, hello. Oh, my name's Ellie Zimmerman.
Bryson Zimmerman.
And we're here to talk about physics
By the boys.
by the boys.
By the Boyz.
And
Gotta love that man.
Especially
Gotta love
you.
that man.
Yeah.
Gotta love.
force. Strength or energy as an attribute of physical action or movement. A push or a pull. So in this video, it's an example of force because it's a push. Because I'm pushing the bar. Bryson, can you tell me how much I was like benching right there?
Well, you see, the Amish wheels, he was benching, weighed about, I'd say 50 pounds each. So with the bar, that would be about 145 pounds.
Yeah. Plus we added like 45s on each side. So
So then that'd be in the 200 mark. But really, you round that to 220.
But Brandon, like.
And then you can see in the back, Compy is like using his pull force to strangle the crap out of Bryson.
Locked in, just like.
Rolling friction. Rolling friction occurs when a wheel, ball, or cylinder rolls freely over a surface, as in a ball and roller bearings. The main source of friction in rolling appears to be dissipation of energy involved in deformation of the objects. Alright, so this is an example of rolling friction.
As you can see, the tires, it's rolling and it's like on the ground, which helps them go. Because without the friction of the ground, you would just not go anywhere.
You just stay still. That was good. That was good.
All right, boys, and the 4 girls we have in our class. We're going to be talking about sliding friction. So, sliding friction can be defined as the resistance created by any two objects when sliding against each other. This friction is also known as kinetic friction and is defined as the force that is needed to keep a surface sliding along another surface. Okay, so in this short clip, Ellie is using the sled as the sliding friction, and he is pushing Tompy, the big hunk of a dude.
So what he's trying to say is the friction of the ground and the sled, since it's not wheels and it's not rolling, it's just sliding. Like it's like a flat surface like this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you slide a book on a table, it'll slide, but then it'll start to stop.
Fluid friction. Fluid friction occurs between fluid layers that are moving relative to each other. This internal resistance to flow is named viscosity.
This is why we're an ICP.
In everyday terms, the viscosity of a fluid is described as its thickness.
Like if you go into a pool and you dive, and, for instance, you can go in the pool and like do that. Yeah, that's basically fluid friction right there. Run it back.
And this is an example of fluid friction. It is the can, the liquid is in the can, going through the straw as Bryson is sucking it, and
Let me talk.
no, I got this. This video is an example of fluid friction because as the liquid is in the can and Bryson's sucking it, the fluid goes through the straw and into his mouth. It's like starts in the can, and as he sucks it, the fluid goes through the straw and into his mouth.
And the straw creates the friction.
Okay, friction coefficient. Coefficient of friction is a measure of the amount of friction existing between two surfaces. When you find a coefficient of friction, you calculate the resistance right there to motion at the interface of two surfaces of similar or dissimilar materials. So we'll give an example of that right here.
This is an example of friction coefficient. As you can tell, they're creating friction by moving their hands together really fast and creating heatness, because that's just logic.
Gauge. I know you're laughing in the background.
This is us calculating the friction.
Alright, Newton's first law. Newton's first law states that an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force and vice versa.
This is an example of Newton's first law.
Oh, it plays. Oh shoot, that was good.
Yeah.
Newton's second law. Oh, it looks like we have a guest host. Join us, join us.
All right.
You might want to talk a little loud because this isn't connected to anything. Can you explain Newton's second law for us?
I sure can. Newton's second law of motion pertains to the behavior of objects for which all existing forces are not balanced. The second law states that the acceleration of an object is dependent upon two variables: the net force acting upon the object and the mass of the object.
Thank you. Let's give it up.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Let's give it up for Patrick.
pleasure.
Yeah. Newton's second law. This is Dr. Who?
Kevin.
Dr. Kevin is going to be explaining the formula.
Formula for Newton's second law.
Oh, he's so cute.
Force equals mass times acceleration.
Newton's third law states that for every action force in nature, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If object A exerts a force on object B also exerts an equal and opposite force of object A. If that makes sense. In other words, forces result from interactions.
We'll show it in this example. Notice how Bryson pushed against the wall, and as he pushes, he moves instead of the wall. So that's an opposite reaction because he's trying to push the wall, but he's
And
pushing
guys,
himself.
always wear helmets just in case.
Yeah, safety first.
You never know. All right, class, we were talking about gravity. Okay, so gravity is the force that attracts a body toward the center of the earth or toward another physical body having mass. I'll rephrase that. Or toward any other physical body having mass. What goes up must come down. So in this next video, you will see
An
something
example of gravity.
Yes,
Yes.
that goes up, then down.
Because it's gravity.
Okay, so here's the video that I can see. He throws it up, pause it. It's in the air at that point, right?
Right here, as I throw it, it goes
They can totally see that.
up, and then
That
it
force of gravity.
brings it down.
See that little
it
bird
down.
looking thing in there?
And then
Boom! Because when you have an object in the air, the force of it will carry down even harder, and the mass will just alter it.
So
Also-
basically,
yeah.
what he's saying is the gravity. When I threw it up in the air, it went to its highest point, but then it didn't have enough acceleration and momentum to keep it going in the air. So the gravity brought it down and exploded it. Weight versus mass. The difference between mass and weight is that the mass is a measure of the amount of matter in objects. In objects, who wrote this? While weight is a measure of the effect of gravity on that mass. In other words, gravity causes a mass to have weight. We're gonna have a demonstration to explain that better for you guys. He's a young lad, right?
I am a young man.
He could be 100 pounds with gravity. Look, 100 pounds with gravity, I can't lift him up because I'm...
What?
Without gravity, he could be 20 pounds and I could just... So, weight versus mass. It could be different with gravity.
Hooke's law. Wall of...
Elasticity, kind of like a rubber band.
Yeah, I like the stretchy things.
All right.
Discovered by an English scientist, Robert Hooke, in the 1660s.
60s.
That for the relatively small deformations of an object, the displacement or size of the deformation is directly proportional to the deforming force or load.
The example, Hooke's law. Hooke's law. This is elastic because this could be flat, but whenever you put air molecules in, it blows up.
That's good form right there.
Thank you, and until next time.